Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. We got this week in the NFL. We're going to touch on Alex Cora. Our king is back. We're also going to touch on Mlb Free Agency and kind of preview next season. All that and more on this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. It is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I am joined by Danny Football, producer John, and Danny Football with the new flashing the new leather over there.
Look at this. Look at this. No more salesman headset.
He is not selling cars. He's not selling insurance over there, folks.
Look at this. Look at this little baby. Look at this little baby.
I think I'm just going to see Danny Football just looking at his mic throughout the
You're
pod.
gonna be like, what's your take on this? I'm like,
I got distracted. Look at him. He's just
talking about?
He's just mesmerized. He's mesmerized.
We're upgrading here, man. We're upgrading here.
Definite upgrades. Thank you for all for joining the Big Red Zone. Just a reminder, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. You can also find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as producer John says, anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. Just type in Big Red Zone, give us a subscribe, like our videos, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And for the love of God, tell a friend. Please tell a friend. There was definitely some friends told last week.
Ooh.
Definitely bumping numbers last week. So
keep telling those friends, guys. Keep telling those friends.
Keep telling the friends. Fellas, how was the week? How's everything going?
John, you want to go first?
Busy week. Danny Football, I can already tell has something that he wants to get off his chest.
I'm ready. But I want John to say his piece.
All right. He doesn't get to say his piece.
Thank you, John.
He doesn't want to.
Thank you, John.
All right.
As for me, I was doing great. You know, Friday comes, I got the new mic. I'm looking up and down on this mic. And then Saturday morning, the Michigan Wolverines play the Indiana Hoosiers.
We're just jumping right into it.
And I want John Harbaugh to be fired because I don't want to watch this team anymore. I'm done.
I don't watch him, period. So, but
you're John a lucky
Harbaugh
man.
That bad? John Harbaugh that bad, huh?
You're a lucky man. We're 1-2 right now. He has only beaten Michigan State once. He's never beaten Ohio State. And this was our first loss to Indiana in a couple decades. So the John Harbaugh experiment in Michigan is done. I don't want to see it anymore. And give me someone new.
Are you a Michigan fan?
I'm a Michigan man.
That's your team?
My dad is from Michigan, so I'm a Wolverine.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. It's funny. I'm talking to some of the guys that love college football. It's really like, oh, my family's from Ohio or something
and
like that.
I went to UMass Lowell, who doesn't have a football team, so I kind of give my
UMass Lowell guy.
Huge UMass Lowell guy,
hockey.
but we're a hockey school. We don't have football, so that gives me the out to bandwagon other places. My other team is Notre Dame, and I watched that go wire to wire in the overtime win over Clemson. And
huge win
for the Irish. Didn't like that they stormed the field because that's going to cause a lot of problems. But
that definitely caused some problems on the Twitter. That definitely got
a lot of tweets about that. But if you want a hot take, I missed on Jalen Hurts to the Pats. Ian Book to the Pats.
Ian Book,
love
that's
Ian Book.
Guy?
Big Ian Book guy.
Write it down. Someone write it down now.
I'll put it in the notes.
Put in the notes.
But
Look to the Pats.
While I'm putting that in the notes, let's get on track here if you want to lead us into weekend recap.
Yeah. Well, I think you said it best. Let's get into our first segment, weekend recap. It's the weekend recap.
All right, Big Red. I know you've nailed this pick twice now. It was a big blowout game.
Lay it on me.
Blowout game. You're the Nostradamus of the pod. You called Brady. You've called countless things. I called Doc Rivers, so I'll give myself a little credit. But
definitely called Doc Rivers.
Did even you see this Bucs game going the way it went?
I did not. I did not think that this would be the way it ended. 38-3 was not what I thought, and they got a cheap field goal at the end. I was nervous to take the pick. I mean, I had faith that the Saints were going to beat the Bucs. I've been saying it since Brady signed in Tampa. This team is not. It's a little overrated. I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl. They keep adding stud players, which kind of makes me rethink it a little bit every time they add Leonard Fournette or an Antonio Brown, or they add these pieces that are like, man, this offense is the greatest I've ever play. Like the names that you see play on this team, like Antonio Brown, Tom Brady, Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette. You see all these guys play on the same team. It's amazing, like the talent on that offense. I just don't think they win. The team that's like the most, like I just don't see it that they're going to win it all. And I think it proved in the two Saints matchups. The Saints, I think, are a legit contender, at least to lose in the NFC Championship game on a terrible call or one.
That's coming. You know that's coming.
They're
either going to mess it up for themselves or the refs are going to mess it up for them.
There's going to be a missed PI or a blocked field goal going into the NFC Championship. A kick six. Like it's going to be something. So, but I think the Saints, this could be, write it down. This could be the Saints' year. I got to see a little more. I got to see Michael Thomas play with this team because, Michael Thomas looked good, looked not that bad. I heard a lot of people giving him a lot of grief. I didn't think he looked that bad after sitting on his butt for the last.
Well, I've been giving him grief because he's been sitting on my bench for 8 weeks, which isn't ideal for me.
I've had him on my bench for 8 weeks too. But let me tell you something. With Michael Thomas in my lineup playing a complete game, I'm 1-0.
Oh,
there you go.
That's almost a winning streak.
That's almost a winning streak.
That's halfway to a winning streak.
I'm on a heck of a losing streak in a few of my leagues. I think I have more points against than points for, and I have like over close to 2,000 points for. I'm just getting obliterated when people play me. I think John had over 200 points, like 250, 260 when they played him in this league. It just had a day. But no, to answer your question, didn't see that coming. I knew they were going to win. Had a lot of confidence in the Saints. But 38-3, didn't see that one coming. Brady looked terrible.
I was going to say, if you want to go in on Brady, man, I know he's your man.
I'm not going to, you know what? I think he's getting enough grief on Twitter and everywhere else. I think, did Max Kellerman say go back on his cliff?
I try not to look at anything Max Kellerman says, but 22 of 38, 209 yards. His passer rating was a 40.4. So I'm sure somewhere in this world, Max Kellerman is giving himself a good pat on the back.
He can't. Max Kellerman cannot talk about Tom. Didn't he come out a couple weeks ago and say that he was wrong about the Tom
He did.
Brady?
He completely covered his base. But I feel like as soon as Tom Brady has a bad game, he's going to be back on that train.
But he said, what did he say? The cliff was like 5 years ago? He said he's going to fall off a cliff like 5 years ago?
Yeah. He says it every year, hoping that it happens.
Yeah.
Every take can work if you do that every single season.
I just think, these things happen. I think it was just a bad day. Obviously, it's not like this is one of the worst games for Tom in his career.
Most turnovers since 2011.
So, you know what? I think they're going to bounce back next week. They're going to be in the hunt. Let's face it, they're going to be a top dog in the NFC.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's saying they're not going to make the playoffs. It was just a bad loss to a borderline elite team.
Yeah, so I think the Saints are a legit contender. I think I can see them like we've seen teams like the Seahawks that we thought were like runaways in the NFC. Mm-hmm. They're losing to the Bills, which I think we're going to get into. No, we won't we're not going to touch on that game today, but they lost to the Bills. And the Bills are hot, but Russ looked terrible yesterday.
I think especially this season, it's any given Sunday.
And knock on wood, the injuries are ridiculous.
And I think that's what's adding to it. I think that's what's making such parity is that people are getting hurt, missing so many games.
Yeah. If you imagine Michael Thomas playing the whole time, Christian McCaffrey. We saw Christian McCaffrey play yesterday. They looked like a totally different team, and they played really well. So I think it's kind of like the MLB. It's anybody's race. Who would have thought the Rays would be in the World Series?
True.
And to be honest with you, in a regular long season, who knows that they are in the World Series? So I think it's anyone's game, but I would put the Saints as one of the top two dogs in the NFC.
I think they'd have to be especially after this win. It's just it's such a statement win.
It was, and this is with full strength. This is with getting your guy Michael Thomas, your elite wide receiver back,
full complement of weapons. Kamara's healthy. Everyone's healthy.
Yeah,
just pounding the ball.
Yeah. So we just kind of talked about him with Christian McCaffrey, And let's talk about another top dog, the Chiefs versus the Panthers. They won over the Panthers. Christian McCaffrey's first game back in how many weeks?
Couple weeks?
Been a while. Multiple weeks. He went on IR for a little bit. The first guy I want to talk about, because obviously Christian McCaffrey was great. You know, he's 69 yards, a touchdown on the ground. He had 82 yards receiving on 10 receptions and a touchdown. Like, the guy is a stud, right? He's the best running back when healthy.
I was just about to say, he is the best running back when he's healthy.
There's no debate. He's the best running back in the league. But a guy that I like, I think he's a very underrated player, I don't think he gets enough credit, is Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater played phenomenal. 310 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also ran in a touchdown and had 19 yards rushing. The guy is a game man. I don't know if he gets enough credit.
I was just about to say, I think we've called him a game manager before, but do you think he's starting to ascend from that, or?
I think he has so much potential to do that. He is, I liked him since he came out of college. He had that devastating injury. He's fought back. Last year with the Saints, when we were talking about when Teddy Bridgewater came in for
Drew Brees.
We talked about this. We're like, how is Teddy Bridgewater? I looked back at his past career numbers as a starter. He has a winning record by a lot. And he went 5-0 last year as a starter, right? 5-0 around there. It sounds right. He didn't lose as a starter.
I can't remember his record when he was in Minnesota, but
it was a winning record because I looked it up last year. And this year, I mean, it's ebbs and flows of the season. You lose your
It's
the
a
best
new
running back, new coach in the league. Lose your best running back early, but they don't. As you look at it, they have Curtis Samuel's okay.
Robbie
Anderson was a solid pickup for them.
But then Mike Davis is your 4th most receiving yards, and he's the backup running back.
Yeah, and DJ Moore, I think he had a big year last year. I think they got to get him more involved.
Yes.
But I mean, they're not working with a lot. You know what I mean? They're not working with a ton, and they're doing pretty well. And 3-6 isn't ideal, but I think Teddy can lead them to some success in the future when they add a couple more pieces, maybe another draft, another go at free agency, and a healthy Christian McCaffrey and a regular season kind of feel. I think they're going to be a pretty nice team. And Teddy Bridgewater has a lot to do with that. I think and I give him a lot of credit. He went to the Saints, did the backup role. He earned his spot. He got a nice contract, and he's playing phenomenal. I think he deserves a lot of credit. A lot of people rag on him, and I think he's a great game manager. I think he's a great guy to lead your team, especially this kind of team where you don't have a lot of experience. It's a lot of not a lot of talent. So I think a game manager is perfect for that team.
Yeah, I think if you told a Panthers fan, hey, you guys are going to be 3-6, but you're going to you will have already lost McCaffrey for so many weeks. You're going to lose a couple of close games. I think they'd honestly be happy with it. 3-6 considering everything, and they've been in some ball games. So I think you can definitely lead them to the playoffs in the coming years.
So when did McCaffrey go out? Was it against the Chargers? I think it was against the Chargers.
Let me see.
No, it was before that. Was it the Bucks?
I'm going to pull up his stats right now.
I think it was against the Bucks. He went out week 2, right?
Sounds right.
So week 2, you're 0-2 with your. You're going into week 3 without your stud running back. They win the next 3 games. They lose a tough one to the Bears, 3-1, and they lose a tough one to the Saints, close one to the Saints. We just said is one of the best teams in the NFC, 3-2. They lose to the Falcons, which, they're a great offense. Bad loss, but it's a great offense.
Everyone has one at this point.
And they almost beat the Chiefs. That's as much as I wouldn't be happy with I don't think they can be complacent with a losing record, but.
No, but I think all things considered, it's better than 0-9.
And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't pick this as my pick of the week, and I'm not going to say who I picked for my pick of the week yet. I was considering, when looking at the games, picking them against the Bucs. I really was. But now that Christian McCaffrey may be injured again, I'm a little less confident in that. Mm-hmm. But they look great. And I would be happy if I'm a Panthers fan. I think they got a bright future with that team. And the Chiefs, I think, I've said it once, I'll say it again. There's what's the saying? There's holes in the armor or something like that. It's
Kinks
not
in the armor.
Kinks in the armor. They're not this powerhouse team that's going to blow you out. I think when we came.
No, they bleed, dude. They bleed. Trust me, they bleed. If Jarrett Stidham can throw a touchdown pass on them, they bleed.
This is round 3 of Ivan Drago versus Rocky Balboa.
Oh my God!
They're cut, and it's a bad cut. They almost lost to Brian Hoyer and Jarrett Stidham. They, as much as I just hyped up the Panthers, let's bring it back to reality. The Chiefs are Super Bowl champions and Super Bowl contenders.
They had a close game with the Chargers too. That went to overtime.
They had a close game with the Chargers. These teams that have losing records right now, they find a way to pull it out, which I think is what's going to help them going forward in the playoff race, where they're going to have these close, tight games, and they got to know how to, compete in those situations.
Right, which they did in the playoffs last year. Is they trailed at halftime in almost every game, I think, and then they came back in every single one.
So I think it's good in that sense, but
if you run into a Saints team in the Super Bowl, I think that Saints team would know how to close.
Yeah. I mean, you got Drew Brees behind you, and you got Alvin Kamara, you got Michael Thomas, you got the three-headed monster. I think they'll be able to close, but like I said, any team that goes into KC or has KC coming in, I would have confidence that I can beat them, because it's like, I don't think when we came in, the gap was like here.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think it's like here between some teams. Like you know what I mean? I think the gap is closer than people think, and especially with like the Ravens. I thought the Ravens the
Ravens took a big step back.
They look nothing. They look like a shell of themselves. Harbaugh, your man,
his brother, yeah,
brother. But what I got main takeaways of this, I'm happy if I'm a Panthers fan. I think they got a bright future, and KC, I think obviously they're the favorites to come out of the AFC.
But I don't think it'll be as easy as they think.
I don't think it's going to be a runaway.
All right, on to another young quarterback. Two young quarterbacks. I thought you were going to take it. I was. No. You're the point guard, dude. You're the point guard, dude.
All right. Now this is interesting, because I think Kyler's your guy. You've been preaching for Kyler Murray. And I don't per se think I am a Tua guy, and especially when they benched Ryan Fitzpatrick, I was pretty upset.
I think you're starting to look at some bandwagon tickets for Tua. You're not on the train, but you're looking at the ticket prices.
I like what I see. He looked really good last week. And it was against a Cardinals team that we were talking about is one of the best, like the top team in the league. You know what I mean? With Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. I know Kendrick Drake was hurt, but like that offense, we were like saying, man, this Chase Edmonton, this is a good team. But the Dolphins find a way to win 34-31 against a great Arizona Cardinals team. Get this. The Miami Dolphins are 5-3.
Same record as the Cards, yeah.
So, before we break down this game, the Dolphins, we're talking playoff push right now,
especially with an expanded field. Absolutely.
I never thought I'd say it. And this makes me a little nervous with the Patriots. And the reason we're not covering this game, the Patriots game, by the way, because if you're a fan of the shows, will know that we always talk about the Patriots game. It's happening starting in like a half hour to an hour. I forget what it is. At 8 o'clock kickoff.
8:15.
8:15. By the way, PSA. I don't know if we can get this. If Roger Goodell listens to the pod, but
he listens.
If producer John, welcome back
out of nowhere.
I know. I was in the other room. I had you in my AirPods, and I was in the other room, and I hear, "How was your day?" I was like, let's hope to ride this one out, because I'm not coming back.
We powered through. But can we make a petition to get Monday Night Football on an hour earlier? Like, this is getting a little ridiculous. 8:15.
It's 8:15, and you know that game's not kicking off till 8:30.
Yeah. Can we get this like a 7 o'clock start? Like an hour earlier would be nice for everyone.
Big Red wants to go to bed.
Big Red needs his beauty sleep.
Needs to get some sleep.
He needs his beauty sleep. The kids, it's for the kids, man. The kids got to get to bed for school. They got to, make it earlier so everyone can watch the game. I just think it should be moved earlier. That's my PSA. Take it or leave it. So I don't know where I was going. Oh, so the Patriots. I was off. I went on a tangent. So the Patriots game is playing right now, so we don't know. But this Miami team, I always thought when we're looking at the standings, it's a $2. Like you only have to beat the Bills to get first place in the division. But now we're talking Miami. Like this, you don't have to worry about the Jets. Let's not worry about the Jets for standing wise. But
we do have the one win over them though, so we have that in our back pocket.
But they're a better team than when we first played them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I just think it's going to be a tough go about it. Now you got to worry. Now you have to win. You already had to win, but now you got to win 2 tough games in your division. So I think they're definitely a playoff team. They can sneak in the wild card with a 5-3 record. They're only let's see what their other games are.
Well, I do that. I'm just going to mourn my Kyler Murray preseason MVP pick because it's not looking good now.
He shows so much flashes of an MVP.
He still had a good game. He was 21 of 26, 283, 3 touchdowns. Passer rating was 150. But
got to find a way to close.
5-3 losing games like this. He's not going to.
He did beat the Seahawks.
He did, but everyone's beating the Seahawks now.
Yeah, that's true.
So
he's beat. So the Dolphins have to play the Chargers, the Broncos, the Jets, the Bengals, KC, Patriots, Raiders, Bills.
What's the Seahawks record, if you can see it real quick?
Sorry, I was looking at their schedule.
I have a phone. I guess I can do it too.
They're 6-2. They're only a game up.
So he's still in the race then if Russ is the front runner?
Yeah, I'd say Russ is still the front runner for MVP. But he's throwing up some stinkers. I'm still behind my man, Aaron Rodgers. I'm still behind my preseason pick, Aaron Rodgers for MVP. He had another great day, history day last week. I'm sticking with him. I made the prediction preseason. I got to stick with it. But this Miami team, they have a chance to have a very good winning, like a very good record at the end of the season. Like they got some games like the Jets, they'll definitely win that one. The Chargers is a winnable game. The Broncos is a winnable game. Patriots, as much as I hate to say it, is a winnable game. Bills is, we'll see. That's going to be an interesting.
That could be for the division.
Week 17. That's going to be a big game. A couple days after New Year's. That's going to be an interesting game to watch. But Miami is a contender, and Tua, I think, is. I was a little down on him at first, but I'm coming around. I think it's. I'm starting to be turned. Starting to be swayed. So that's what we have for Week in Recap. Like we said, we'd love to talk about the Patriots game. Maybe we'll get an update, but probably not. We won't get an update. But hopefully they get a nice W.
Whoever listens will know how it went.
Yeah, let us know. So we're going to get into our next segment of the night, Picks of the Week. Picks of the Week. All right, so picks of the week. We each pick a team going into next week that we think is going to win. We try to pick close games, no blowouts that we think, like no easy games. But I guess, when you have the Steelers almost choking to the Cowboys, I guess no game is easy. So now, Zach, Danny Football, you have a knack for picking games.
Yeah, I always pick the games that
don't happen.
I'm always lagging behind by a week because they either get canceled or they're the Monday game and then we get pushed up for recording.
This is absolutely crazy.
I'm 2-3 right now. I'm still waiting on the Pats over the Jets pick. So that could either get me to 3-3. Then again, if they lose that game, I will probably be dead. So this week, we were talking about him earlier, and I'm going to keep riding his train. Kyler Murray, I'm going to go Cards over Bills. Both teams have kind of taken each week off, so I think the Cardinals are going to show up next week, and the Bills are kind of going to take one off. So Cardinals over Bills, we're going for 4-3.
I like it. I had, like I said, big win last week with the Saints. I'm not going to take them again. I feel like it's unfair to take them every week. So I'm going to go with a team, again, we just talked about,
We're staying on topic.
I'm staying on topic. I'm going Dolphins over Chargers. I think they're going to ride it with Tua.
That's going to be a good game, Tua and
It's going
Herbert.
to be a great game. Two young stud quarterbacks that are going to be in this league for a while. I think it's going to be a great game. The Chargers, it will be interesting because they've blown big leads in past games. This is definitely a winnable game for the Chargers. So it'll be interesting to see how Herbert does and how Tua does going into this week. So I picked the Dolphins over the Chargers. So that's our picks of the week. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know.
Pick your own game. Why not? Get on in on the fun.
Yeah, get on. Vote who had the best one, whatever you want to put. We're also going to get into our next segment of waiver pickup of the week. Had a big one. No, my last pick was kind of a dud, but we've had some good ones in this one. You had a great one last week.
I've had a good run so far.
You had a great waiver pickup of the week. I want to thank you for that one.
Yeah, you stole DJ right from under my nose.
Because I had Chris Carson. I
went looking for him. I'm like, because Philip Lindsay, I didn't know if he was going to play or not. I'm like, I'll just pick up DJ. And then I'm like, and he's on Big Red's team. That's great.
In every league. I went.
Literally every league. I was like, okay, maybe not in this one. Then I'll check the other one. And nope, you had him.
Because we're in, 3 leagues together?
Yes.
Now? 3 leagues? So I think I picked him up in every single one of the leagues.
I had to get Tony Pollard, which wasn't horrible.
That wasn't a terrible one.
No.
I tried to find you stole him from me. I tried to pick him up in that league too because I had Zeke.
I should have made him your waiver pickup. I would have known. Who do you got this week?
This week I'm going Richie James. Rostered in 0.1% of leagues. He's going to be a hot ticket on the waiver wire this week. 9 receptions, 184 yards, and a touchdown. He's the only receiver for the 49ers active this week, last week because of the COVID cases. It'll be interesting to see how he does going forward when, we start getting these guys back. But I'll tell you what, they looked his way in a game that was kind of miserable for the 49ers. It wasn't miserable for Richie James. So it's worth rostering him and putting him on the lineup and the bench for future.
Good pick. I'll note that for you. I'm going to go with
looking for Richie James, and he's going to be on Diddy.
He's going to be gone. He's going to be on all my teams. I'm going to go with David Moore, wide receiver for the Seahawks.
Yeah,
he's been sneaky consistent so far. 7 week 1, 13, 1.2, 18.5, 0, 8.8, 13.6, and a 17.1. Ross is letting everyone cook right now. So if you're a little thin at wide receiver, David Moore, he's rostered in 1.8%. So he's definitely out there.
He's definitely out there. That's a good pickup. That's definitely a good pickup, especially when teams are starting to kind of hone in on Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett had a couple quiet weeks in a row.
DK, they can only hope to contain DK.
Yeah, they're going to start to try to contain DK. So definitely DJ Moore is a great pickup. So moving away from football, we're going to get into baseball talk. We had some great news this week. Our man is back.
Easily the best news we've gotten in a while.
Yeah. I thought we were on a roll of good news, and then we were hit RIP to Alex Trebek. We hit with the Alex Trebek news the day after, which is very sad.
2020 giveth, 2020 taketh away, man.
Wise words.
Thank you.
But Alex Cora, it's funny. That day I tweeted out, I'm getting nervous. The further and further away we get from hearing this, I feel less and less confident. Literally 2 hours later, Alex Cora signs.
He's home.
I don't mean to say anything, but I think I put the extra pressure on the Red Sox management to go.
They read your tweet. They're like, all right, we should close this.
I think they saw I was getting a little antsy, and Red Sox Nation was going to start to follow, and they had to sign him. So you're welcome. You're welcome. I got Big Red. You heard it here first. Big Red got him signed. So
I'm sure Cora will get you the thank you tweet in a couple of days.
I hope so. I think I deserve it. So
Big Red Zone got it.
Shout out Ty Schwab. Ty Schwab played his first game. Yeah, and he played in the that league he's playing in. I saw a tweet. So yeah, I saw he was I don't know if it was week 1 or something, but I saw some Instagram shares from Ty Schwab. Shout out Ty Schwab. But what do we think? What's our initial feelings, Danny Football, on Alex Cora, the reclaiming his throne as the manager of the Boston Red Sox?
So we got Cora on a 2-year contract, has a 2-year team option for 2023 and 2024. Dude, the Red Sox are back. We got our swagger back. This is it. I mean, we've had 2 pretty lackluster seasons back to back. We can do this. Gas up the duck boats. We're ready to ride. We're ready to ride again.
Now, I'm not ready to say that
Gas them up.
because one of those years that we've had lackluster was with Alex Cora. And the year, that Alex Cora year, as much as I gassed him up, I love Alex Cora. I love the signing. He came in with the theory of, I remember, I'll never forget, I heard him say, he's like, we're not turning the page, we're just continuing. I think we should have turned the page. I think it was ready to turn the page because we had a terrible season. I think someone asked him and said, are we ready to turn the page yet? He's like, yeah, we should probably turn the page off this season. But I'm not so.
He was feeling good, dude. That was a historic Red Sox season.
I know. You gotta feel good. But I still like we bring in Alex Cora. We still have those holes on the pitching side. That doesn't change it.
I think it at least fixes the culture, though. I think our winning mentality's back.
I think the mentality, I think we got a little more confidence in the locker room. Let's face it, Alex Cora gets the most out of his players.
100%.
The players he had career years when he was with, like their best years of the career.
Like JD, Devers loves him. Erod loves him. Everyone in that locker room wanted him back.
Chris Sale.
Yes.
Hopefully you get Chris Sale back. Nate Eovaldi had that great postseason run with him. Just going down the line. JBJ, Benintendi had a good year with him. Like when he was playing great, he was with Alex Cora. I just feel like we still have the whole, like, yes.
We definitely need the bodies. We definitely need the personnel.
Right. So,
but I think as far as guys walking into the clubhouse and seeing him back in the manager's office, I think that is going to do a lot more than we think.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's going to help us out a lot mentality-wise. Physically, we need arms. It doesn't change anything. It's, 2 years ago when we had Alex Cora at the helm, we had a bullpen full of Pawtucket guys. So it doesn't change anything. We need to go we have the same problem, if not worse, because when Alex Cora was last a manager, we had Mookie Betts and David Price on our roster. I think it's worse than it was when he last walked out of the locker room. They need to do something about it, and
we can now. We reset that luxury tax.
Right.
No, we're not a poverty franchise anymore, man.
I trust Bloom. I really do. I think he's pulled the right string so far.
And now we know that Cora is his guy. That was a big
I'm not
worry.
It's not his guy. I think that was a push by management. I don't think I don't think Bloom was like, this is my top choice. I think it was that.
No, but I think it goes a long way that Bloom was even willing to consider it.
Right. I agree.
Unless he just didn't put his foot down and let management do it.
I think it was the management piece. Yeah. Because I think it's like Mookie. I don't think he wanted to trade Mookie. But,
no, he had to.
But John Henry made him. I don't think he wanted to sign Alex Cora, but I think Henry made him. I just think it's with those kind of decisions, John Henry kind of says, we're doing this because it's like, trying to make some money. He thinks we're trying to make some money or trying to save money. I don't know. And he's also buddies with he likes Alex Cora. So regardless, happy about it. I know some people aren't happy about it.
Yeah, there was a weird minority that was upset about it, which
I got it. Like people,
you guys don't need to watch next season.
I just
goodbye.
Like people are really upset with him about the Houston Astros thing, which I get. It's one of the worst cheating. It is
right,
probably.
But I don't think he had nearly as big a role in it as people make it out to be.
Some people believe he did.
I mean, AJ Hinch is the manager of the Detroit Tigers. Why isn't anyone giving them heat?
Right. I totally agree. It's like he was the bench. Let's get this straight. He was the bench coach. Nothing gets by. Like the bench coach isn't going to start this whole elaborate plan without the manager, the GM, and possibly some other coaches like
knowing about it. There's no way
about it. And people said to me that former players said that like, all right, all his former players in Boston love him. And said nothing but the best, and he's respectful of the game and stuff like that. So
all those Astros are a bunch of rats anyway, man.
Yeah, they're a bunch of rats.
Rats.
I hate the Astros. They're all a bunch of
the worst.
But what are you gonna do? I like the signing. I'm happy. I'm a little energized.
We're back in it, baby. Red Sox Nation's we're waking up now.
But we need a big free agency.
We do.
It's not
the job's not done. But
job's not done.
We're off to the right start.
and we'll get into that a little bit later in the show. I think but on the topic of next year, I think it's time we get into some of the COVID rules that we changed for last year. I know the moron Manfred wants to change some rules for next season. And he may keep some of the COVID rules. He may change some of the COVID rules. So we're going to take a look at some of those rules and see which ones we like, which ones we don't really like, or maybe there's a variation of that for next year and years to follow. So the first rule that we're going to talk about is neutral site for the World Series. This is something that Rob Manfred has talked about and really likes. My personal feeling is it's stupid. I hate this idea. It takes all motivation of being the top seed because if you're just going to play on a neutral site. So I think it's stupid. I hope they don't do this, but Manfred is such a bad league commissioner. I think he's going to end up doing it. Yeah, I can't even think. He should be out. He's just terrible. So if they do this, it's going to be a terrible change.
I'm kind of with you. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't like that Manfred is a fan of it. I mean, other leagues...
Are you surprised, though?
No, but I mean, other leagues that do series would never do this. Like the NHL would never do neutral site Stanley Cup. NBA would never do neutral site for an NBA Finals unless it's the bubble.
Yeah, because it's stupid.
It takes all the fan interaction out of it. It's a series. It's the best 4 of 7 series. You want the fans involved in at least the 4 games. What do they gain by having 7 games in Texas when the teams are from Tampa Bay and Los Angeles?
Right.
And then you're asking baseball fans to travel when the sport's struggling as it is. I mean, the Super Bowl is one thing. It's the Super Bowl. It's a one-off game. It's do or die. Fans will travel for that, especially for the experience. But you're going to ask people to travel for not just a game, but multiple games. Like, what happens if you come out there for 4 games and then it's a 7-game series? You're going to miss 3 games. So I hate this rule, and I hope it doesn't stay.
Stupid. I think it's ridiculous, and I hope someone gets in his ear and talks his ear off about changing his mind on that, because it's just a stupid rule. Season length, number of games. Now, this is something I've actually argued in the past. I think the baseball season is way too long. And I don't think the answer is cutting it down to what it was this year. I think that's too small of a sample size. But I think chopping off a good amount of those games, look, you can still spread it out to the amount of like April to September, October. Like, you can still spread it out to that time. But if you give, like, you know, say chop off 30, what do they play? They play 162? 162. If you chop off 32 of those games and play 130, like, even that's a month of baseball saved on these pitchers, players just like playing every day. Especially, I'm thinking more of the pitchers wise. It's going to save a lot more arms. It's going to make a lot of careers longer. I mean, we're blowing out elbows and shoulders as it is. You know, when's the last time Chris Sale played a complete season? When's the last time David Price played a complete season? Nate Eovaldi, like all these guys that have come in, like the Red Sox pitchers, looking at it, I think the only one that I can consistently think pitched every single time was Rick Porcello. Like, he's the only guy that I can think of that pitched every 5th day. These guys need rest, and I think you're burning them out. Now, I just said 32 as a round number just to kind of get it even. Anywhere from 30 to, I would say, I wouldn't go below, 120. 120, I think it's like 110 maybe. But then when you're starting to go under triple digits, like, you're getting, like I said, too low of a sample size. I think, like, if you have an off day every week, you have travel days, like, you get it, team travels on a day, they have a day to travel back home. You know what I mean? I think you get a couple of days off a week, 1 to 2 days off a week. I think that would save a lot, and you spread them out. Like, you save a lot of careers. So I'm in favor. There has to be, like, some give and take on the number of games. I think that still needs to be determined. But like I said, I don't think it should be as many games as it was this season. But I like chopping off some of the games.
So I agree with you on a lot of what you just said. I think this is a prime opportunity to shorten the season. I know the
if
NBA.
If you're
Right.
going to do that, this is the time.
And I know the NBA is taking the opportunity to chop off 10 games,
Right.
which I think is beneficial because we know how
absolutely
hectic that schedule is with back-to-backs and travel days and stuff like that. So I do hope the MLB takes this opportunity to chop it down. My magic number is more around 100. I'm not saying 100 exactly, but like somewhere in that ballpark.
I wouldn't go much below that.
No. I don't think I would even go below 100. I think that would be more the floor. But I think they do have a unique opportunity to say, okay, we saw how 60 games looked. We know we can't feasibly do 162 unless they just say F it and go through with everything.
Right.
So I think they should shorten the season, and I think they definitely have the chance to do so. And I would look at maybe 100, 115, 116, somewhere around there, just to give the guys ample rest.
Yeah, like I said,
especially after the sprint that was the shortened season.
Yeah, and maybe you work up to maybe you say next season we're going 110 because I think the NBA is going to cut back because they're starting in
they're doing 72.
They're playing 72, so maybe like you say this season, hey guys, we're going to play 110. See how that goes.
And they could still, like you said earlier, you could still start like normal opening day, just it's more off days, less, one series into another.
Yeah, and I think it's like you said, especially after this year that was so crazy, maybe you say, all right,
I think they had maybe 3 days off a month.
Right, so maybe you say this next season we're going 110, and then you say, you know what, maybe we want to add some games. We're going to say, all right, next season after that, we're
right, and then even if they do a 110 season, they can look at it in 2022 and be like, that worked. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah. Like
or maybe if it doesn't work, add some more, or
Yeah. But like I said, I wouldn't go much past 100.
No.
I think that's too low of a sample size.
And I think that's something the players would also be against because clearly we see that they want to play games and get paid.
Right, exactly. So I'm in favor of lowering the number. I think the number is up for discussion. Definitely not below triple digits, but definitely 162 is way too much.
Right.
We
can agree on that.
Yeah. Now this one is a hot topic. This is one that
we disagree on this one.
I think this one we disagree. It's the universal DH. So, Danny Football, what is your opinion on the universal DH?
All right, I'd like to present my case.
The floor is yours.
Like many people, some people topics have said this sport is dying. I don't think it's that extreme, but some people do say that the sport is dying.
Oh, it is dying.
People want to see runs.
It's that question like every week.
Right, literally. So it's just unfortunate. These are the times. Same with football. People don't want to see defense. They want offense. People want to see home runs. They want to see runs scored. So I think adding the DH to the National League, take out the pitcher, add another guy whose sole purpose it is to either hit bombs or clear the bases, and get more runs on the board, get more offense going, get more clips on Twitter, get more people in, butts and seats. So I think taking out a pitcher who, and I get it, some pitchers rake, Rick Porcello rakes, Madison Bumgarner rakes. But for every Rick Porcello and Madison Bumgarner who homers like twice a season, most of these guys are just walking up to the plate, taking 3 strikes, keeping the bat on their shoulder, and then walking back to the dugout because they don't want to hurt themselves. Mm-hmm. So I think it's more beneficial if they just say, screw it, keep the pitcher in the dugout, let someone else bat, and let's get some runs on the board.
Now, I'm old school. I like the DH pitcher, I like the pitcher hitting in the National League. I hear what you're saying. And in that regard, I have to say, that probably makes sense to change the universal DH because they're changing the ball so people hit more home runs. They
won't admit that, but they are.
They're juicing the ball.
The balls are juiced.
It's a proven fact. The balls are juiced. They don't. The lowest hitter doesn't add 10 home runs to their total without juicing the ball.
Right.
It is what it is. It's harder to pitch. It's easier to hit in the league. So my only 2 cents on it is, one of my favorite memories is the Daisuke Matsuzaka home run when I was younger in 2007. Daisuke hit it like a bomb. Josh Beckett would hit like.
I think Beckett went. Ah, man, I could be wrong. I think he went back to back against the Phillies at one point.
I think so. Like
Something
it was just
like that. You can keep going. I'm going to try to find that.
I just think it adds a little more strategy. I think it adds a little bit more to the game. I like it. I think it's like, when an American League team goes to the National League team, it was always interesting to see, David Ortiz is playing first today. He never plays in the field, just when he plays National League, so we can get him in. And then we see, like I said, back in the day, we'd see, Josh Beckett, Kurt Schilling, they'd take at bats. And I think the pitchers like it. Like, I know you said like they're just taking 3 strikes and getting back to the dugout, but I think some of the pitchers are competitive and they want to hit. Like, they want to hit bombs. So, and also, I mean, I could be wrong because like I said, I watch a lot of Red Sox baseball. I don't watch a lot of, I'll be honest, I'm not watching, the Diamondbacks games. So I don't know how many pitchers do this, but, a lot of pitchers I remember you would sacrifice bunt, move them over. Like, it's a lot of small ball, steal, bunt them over. I think it just adds more strategy to the game. And I get, like, right now, like we said, the sport is dying. So maybe you want to just, like, a quick fix. You want more offense into the game. And in that regard, I guess, okay, yeah, we got to make the universal DH. But I like having some pitchers hit. I think it adds a little something, and it's fun. At least for me as a baseball fan, I like seeing the pitcher hit, and also I think it adds strategy from a baseball perspective. Having to figure out how to use pinch hitters, use your bullpen more. I like that part of the game too.
That would probably be the one argument I do agree with. I do like seeing American League teams go into the National League and then trying to figure out, all right, how are we going to get around this? You have outfielders moving around. You have your DH at first, right. Maybe
you have
stuff
the double
like that.
Switch.
I do like that, and it's kind of like in the playoffs when they have starters come out of the bullpen. I love that. So that would definitely be the one thing I would miss if they did change it. Was okay, the strategy's kind of gone, and you just have another JD Martinez going up to the plate trying to mash one. But yeah, a couple good points there, Big Red. But
if I was a National League team, I probably wouldn't care as much.
No, I don't think so.
Because I think being an American League team, you only see it a couple times a year, and if you're in the World Series, you see it one more time. So it's like, really, I only get to see a pitcher hit 6 games.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it means it's more fun for me. If I'm a Dodgers fan, I don't
want Clayton Kershaw batting.
Yeah,
I probably want him to be sitting for as long as he possibly can.
Kershaw, I think, mashes, doesn't he?
Does he? I have no idea.
I don't know.
I could Rick Porcello and Madison Bumgarner were the only 2 pitchers I can ever think of hitting bombs.
He seems like the kind of guy that would Matt. I feel like he's a psychopath. I feel like he would love to just work on cranking bombs. But I think that's another good point. I think being an American League fan, we don't get to see that too often. So I think that's why it's more special for us rather than, if I'm a Giants fan, I don't care seeing Madison Bumgarner hit. I see him hit every
right. It's cool. That's a good point. It's cool for us to see, but the Giants fans are probably like, yeah, I mean, that's just what happens.
Yeah. So it's not the end of the world. Like, if I'm ranking all those 3, and that's the last rule change we have, if I'm ranking all those 3 rule changes, I would say
season length.
I would say the one that I wouldn't want to see.
Oh, the least
is the
neutral site.
Is the neutral site. I think that would ruin the game.
I thought you were going to say the one you want the most is season length, because that would be mine.
The one I want the most is season length.
Yes. All right. So we agree.
I think this is the middle one. Like, yes. I feel like it would
give or take.
Yeah. I understand why they're going to change it if they do. Mm-hmm. But knowing Manfred, who's just a terrible commissioner, this will probably be the one that he focuses on. But staying on baseball, we're going to move on to our last one of our last topics, and it's MLB Free Agency. Now, we've touched on this in the past. And we're going to go through MLB free agents, top free agents at the positions. We're going to say, give a little rundown, talk about them maybe a little bit, some more than others, and then say where we think they're going to end up landing. So without further ado, who do you want to talk about first?
I'm going to go with DJ LeMahieu just because I just checked Twitter and the New York Post had some rumors that the Red Sox may be interested in DJ LeMahieu. So if you want to start there, I wouldn't mind having DJ LeMahieu on the team.
Now, DJ LeMahieu is an interesting one because he's one of my targets. If I have my board, I have my board on the for the Red Sox of who to sign. DJ LeMahieu is at the top of the list because we need a second baseman. We heard reports last week, I think it was. Dustin Pedroia is finally they're working on him to get him out of that contract, get the contract off the books. I stick by what I said. I think you pay the man what he's due, but if we can pay the man what he's due and get it off the books for salary reasons, I'm all for that. That's what I think. And you actually, I think you were the one that said bring him on as a coach and move that into coaching salary.
Because he's a locker room guy. I'd rather him be on the bench,
like a bench coach or something.
Yeah,
I am. And even if he doesn't do that, and you just bring him in as like he comes in at spring training and they call him rover,
like Pedro.
Coaching. Yeah, they call him rover coaches. Like Keith Folk was a rover coach.
Jason Varitek, I think, is like that. Some sort of role
to an extent. The rover coaches basically move around all the teams. So like Keith Folk would spend a homestand with Pawtucket. He would spend a homestand with Portland. He would spend a home stint with the Sox. Like he would move around to the different teams and just move around the coaching locker rooms and help out. I think that would be perfect for Dustin Pedroia because he has a lot. He's a system guy. He has connections on every single location. I think the fans would love. I can't think of any true Red Sox fans that don't like Dustin Pedroia. And I think it would be great for the fans' perspective. I think it would be good for him. I think it would be good for the young guys. I'm all for paying the man, but get his contract out the books. With that said, I think they need to bring in a bona fide second baseman to play here. And that's what brings us to DJ LeMahieu. I hope they sign. This is one of the top guys I want the Sox to sign. It would be nice to be on the other side of the Sox getting someone from the Yankees for a change.
I was just about to say, I can't really remember the last time someone crossed that line.
Yeah, there's been plenty that have gone the other way, but it'd be fun for him to come to the Sox. But
it'd be a big pickup.
Another place that he could go is the Cubs or the Mets. I've heard rumors of both. The Cubs.
No one wants to go to the Mets right now.
Yeah, but
come to Boston, baby. Come on, DJ.
The Cubs are a good spot. I hope he doesn't, but I think the Cubs would be a good spot.
Anyone you want to go to on this list?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to the number one pitcher available is Trevor Bauer, the psychopath himself. I think he's going to be like at the top of a lot of pitching boards. Where do you think he's going?
I'd like him in Boston. I think I completely ignored your manager question once and said Trevor Bauer, thinking you meant players. So I'm going to double down and I'll say to the Red Sox. I think he's instantly our 2-3 pitcher. So I'll take Trevor Bauer. Yeah, it depends on sales health as well. Yeah. But I'll take him on the Red Sox. If it's not the Red Sox, maybe the Tigers. Now that the Tigers are starting to kind of come into some good things going. So maybe. Who knows?
Now here's what I think. Of course I'd like to see him on the Red Sox, but I'm also realistic. I don't think we're going to be signing all these free agents. So I don't think he would go to the Tigers. For one reason is I think he's been very vocal about the anti-Astros train, and I don't think he's going to want to go play for.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You know who I think would go is a prime contender for this is the Los Angeles Angels. He's an LA guy. He's a native of LA. The Astros are really in need of pitching. They need a lot of stuff, but they have Mike Trout, and I think they need to start adding pieces around him to try to make a run. Like, it's embarrassing that Mike Trout never makes playoffs, and it's not his fault. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, you have the best player in baseball, and
he's trying as hard as he can,
like
by himself.
He can only bat 1 out of 9 times, and he can only play one position. So. They need to help on the pitching. I think they had a over a 5 ERA last year for starters. And I think this guy helps him out. He's from the area, which I think people don't give enough stock in that as it is. Like, if you look at it, like Paul George wanted to go to LA. He's playing LA. All these guys, Kawhi, like a lot of guys go to LA that live or go to where they want to live. I think LA is also like a great town to be. Trevor Bauer, as I said, is a psycho, and I think he would love LA. So I think as much as I want to see him on the Sox, like I really do, I think he would help a lot of problems, and I think he would mesh well with Alex Cora. I think a prime spot for him is LA.
Good prediction. Next, I'm going to go with, just because I don't know if we're going to be able to get to all these, so I'm going to try to start picking my guys. I'm going to go with Marcus Stroman. I just have like a soft spot for Stroh. I have no idea what it is, but I think he's at, a good 3 or 4, 5 pitcher on the staff. So
yeah,
I'd bring in Marcus Stroman, kind of kick the tires, see what's going on there.
Where do you think
he knows the division?
Actually going to go though?
Marcus Stroman. That's I don't even know. Maybe Cincinnati, maybe if they lose Bauer.
Yeah, I think he's going to stay in New York. I think he's going to stay with the Mets. Again, he's a New York native. Like I think that
didn't he opt out of the Mets, or am I thinking of Cespedes?
I think you're thinking of Cespedes.
I thought Stroman took his ball and went home too. I could be wrong.
He could have, but and another team, I hate to say it, I really hate to say it, is the Yankees. I really hate to say it.
Yeah, they're always in play.
I think they're in play they could always use a starter. But I think looking at him, going in that team, you got DeGrom.
He opted out at the end of the season, so he's not going back.
He could still sign with the team.
He could re-sign, but I don't know why he would do it.
Yeah, he opted out of the season, but I thought he opted out of the season, not out of his contract.
I'm seeing opted out of the season, ending his Mets tenure.
I thought it was because of COVID reasons. Doesn't it? I don't know. It's different with I guess, NFL and baseball.
Well, he opted out on August 10th. So
yeah, I don't know.
He didn't even play a game.
He didn't play a game because he had a torn calf.
Yeah, he tore his calf, and then before he came back, he just said F it.
Yeah, with COVID and stuff. I think that was one of his main concerns. But New York is a possibility. I think he would, if they can make some signings, I think the Mets would be a good place. Yankees could be a good place. And he was rumored to be traded to the Red Sox not too long ago. So, excuse me, I think that the Red Sox are definitely in play there. A guy that I think is on everyone's list is George Springer. George Springer, which is kind of a shock for me. I didn't think the Astros would be looking to get rid of him, and he seems to be on a lot of people's people think he's leaving. And maybe it's just because they have a lot of depth there, and they may be willing to part ways with him. I think he may be out, and this is where I think it gets tricky. Because another guy on our list is JBJ, who has been rumored to go to the Astros. So my prediction is, and I don't want to double dip here, but I'm going to double dip with JBJ. I think they either swap or they stay put. I think either JBJ is going to go to Houston and Springer is going to come to Boston. Or they're going to stay in their spots. That's what I think is going to happen. Because I think Springer does want out because of the cheating scandal. I think he kind of put a strain on his.
He's a Connecticut guy, right?
Yeah, I think he's local. To a point, but I think it's a great spot. I think there's a good chance he ends up staying, but. I'd like to see I wouldn't mind seeing George Springer in Boston.
So I'm going to triple dip and bring in his teammate, Michael Brantley, who I've heard is interested in Boston. So I'm going to say Jackie leaves, Springer stays, and Brantley comes to Boston.
Where does Jackie go?
Jackie, I would say maybe the Brewers.
There's rumors of the Blue Jays, too. I've heard some rumors.
Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays are very interested in JBJ.
I wouldn't be shocked either way, but...
yeah, definitely some finagling going on with those three outfielders. I wouldn't mind seeing Michael Brantley come to Boston. I would actually love it, to be honest with you.
I'd pick him up from Logan.
I would too. I'll clean my car before he gets in. Marcelo Zuma. That's another guy, like an unsung hero of that Braves team. Do you have any idea where he's going to go? I think he's going to stay.
I was going to say stay. I don't see him moving. I'm not really sure where he would go if he did go anywhere.
Yeah, I think he's going to stay. I think they got a lot of good things going there, and I think he's going to. I think he'll want to stay and try to help build that up. I'm trying to go quick because I know we're.
Yeah, I'm going to go with my last one.
Okay.
Old friend John Lester.
Give him to me.
I was going to say dream he comes back here, but it looks like he's going to go to the Braves. I saw somewhere he was talking with the Braves, so it's looking like the homecoming won't happen.
God.
So, but it's not official. He hasn't signed anything. I've seen plenty of people almost sign stuff.
I'm saying he's coming to Boston. I want to see it. I think he'd be a great
Speaking into existence, Big Red. Speaking into existence.
I'm gonna. What do they say? I'm gonna manifest my future. I think he's coming home, finish out his career. John Lester, come out and finish a career in Boston. I think he would make a nice fifth starter on that team. You have if you get Chris Sale healthy, you get Erod healthy, you got Evaldi hopefully healthy. That's a lot of ifs. The front three.
A lot of ifs, but he would be consistent. He'd be a constant.
He'd be a constant at the bottom. He's a lefty, and you add a guy you can add in
and he's a veteran presence.
If you can add Stroman or Bauer in there, which I don't think they're coming, but if you can somehow add them, that's a nice five. That's a pretty 100%.
Solid. That reloads everything.
Plus, you got those young guys that came up at the end. Tanner Houck looked wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see Tanner Houck out of the bullpen, to be honest with you, because I think he would light it up. He's throwing hard at the end, coming in mid-game, either mid to late game bullpen guy. But, hey, if you're putting Tanner Houck out there every fifth day, I wouldn't mind at the bottom half of year 5.
All right, you got one guy. You got one guy left. Make it count.
There's so many options. There's so many great options. But I am going to go with do I go with the guy that I think is going to stay? No, I'm not going to go with the guy that's going to stay. I was going to say Tanaka, but I think he stays in New York. I'm going to go Didi Gregorius, former Yankee. He's with the Phillies. I think he's coming off a Tommy John surgery in 2018 and played 82 games with the Yankees in 2019. He did a 1-year deal, prove-it deal with the Phillies, and played great in the 60 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be another guy to add on to the LA Angels. I think it's going to make a lot of sense. He's a great building block guy. It's hard to find. I think I've said this before on the pod. It's hard to find consistent offensive shortstops in this league. There's very few of them. The top ones I can think of that's why I was so happy they signed Bogues and the other guy, Indians.
Lindor.
Those two guys are the cream of the crop. It's the defensive and offensive. It's hard to find that. And DG is not, I wouldn't say there, but I think he's close.
He's a solid piece.
He's a solid shortstop. So if the Angels are trying to make a play, I think that's a nice piece for them to add on.
I think I'm going to agree with you. I like this kind of rebuild you're going with the Angels. So I'll say it. He'll go to LA.
I hate to see Mike Trout keep losing. It's it's tough. He's locked in there until he retires, and then even then some. It's he's gonna finish his career in LA, and he's got nothing around him.
The complete opposite of Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts has been in LA for 60 games. He already has a ring.
That's sickening. Stop. So, there's a ton of other free agents that we had on there that,
but not important enough to get to. So you know who you are.
Justin Turner, that's another good one to talk about, but we don't have to mention that. I think he's leaving LA. I don't think they have enough money. I should have went Justin Turner. Dang it, that was a good one. That should have been my last one. So let us know if there's any free agents we missed. Leave it in the comments. If you think that one of the guys we talked about is going somewhere different or staying where this team, let us know in the comments too. We'd love to hear what you have to say. I think it's time that we get into our last segment of the show. It is the people's topic. It's the people's topic, baby! People's topic. So before we get into the people's topic, just want a quick update. Patriots are up 7-3. Cam Newton, who I just picked up off free agency, scored a touchdown. Let's go, Cam Newton. And Cam we trust. I said it last week. He's down, but he's not out.
Patriots I really hope this ages well so badly. I hope we don't listen back to this for like, oh man, we lost by 20.
I do need a shootout with Jack. I do need a shootout with the Jets to get. I need -11 on the Patriots defense.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I'll pray for you, man.
Thank you. I need the Patriots to win, though. First things first, Patriots.
Right.
That's fantasy. Forget fantasy football. Patriots.
Real football over everything.
That's right. But back into the people's topic. Reminder: you can write into people's topic on our Instagram, our Twitter @BigRedZone. You can write in anytime. Doesn't have to be when we make a post. You can come up with a question whenever you want. Or you can write it on YouTube comments. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, producer John, take it away.
First question comes from Jose Moda 05. He's written in before. He's like a verified account. He's like that. Remember that old or not old, but that's mean. But the former professional baseball player. He played for Kansas City and the Padres.
That wrote in people's topic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think we messaged him back. Yeah.
Well, he wrote in again.
Oh.
Come on the show. Come on the show.
Come on the show, Jose. Does he even follow us?
Jose, come on the show.
Doesn't follow us.
Doesn't follow.
Wild move.
But he writes into our. I don't know how that works.
This is the second time I don't get it. He asked, which players do you think will have a big year next season? Assuming he means baseball. But that could assume a lot. Maybe he's a well-rounded individual. Maybe he's a baseball player.
I think he is. I think he's a well-rounded individual.
Maybe he likes football.
So who do we think's gonna do well next season?
Go baseball.
Go baseball. And I don't know, who's gonna have a good year?
Who's gonna have a good year next season?
I want to say Andrew Benintendi because he can't get any worse.
That's
guaranteed better season.
That's asking a lot. I'm going to double down on him. Is our who am I going to double down on?
I don't
know.
I was waiting.
Oh no, I know who I'm going to double down on. I ought to double down. I've been preaching this guy for months. Bobby D. Bobby Dahlbeck. He's going to come in, be our starting first baseman, the one that we've been looking for. He's going to come out and have a full season under his belt. He's just going to hit dingers, and I think he's going to have a great year. Bobby D. Breakout year.
All right, take that, Jose.
Jose, come on the show. Give us a follow first, and then come on the show.
Follow us first.
And then come on the show. Or don't follow us, whatever. Just come on the show.
Come on the show without following us.
And then maybe we'll convince you to follow us by the end.
That could be it. Maybe he needs to be on the show before he does that.
Did he even message us back when we messaged him?
I don't remember.
I'm going to look. I'll put him on blast right now. Just kidding. Nope, never messaged us back. Never even read it.
Jeez.
He's a busy guy.
Big fan of the show. Second question.
I love that he wrote it.
We got a two-parter from guess who?
Joseph Celia?
Joseph Celia.
Joseph Celia.
Which current athlete do you believe gets too much criticism?
I think I'm just going to say who I talked about. I said it early in the show, Teddy Bridgewater. I think Teddy Bridgewater gets a lot of criticism. I think because he's not as flashy as the other quarterbacks in the league, but he gets results. I think he's a very good quarterback.
I'm going to say LeBron James. Now, I know that he gets pumped up a lot. But I think...
gets too much criticism?
I think he gets too much criticism for losing in the finals, and yet we give Brady credit for making Super Bowls.
There's only one...
Because when people debate Brady versus Montana, it's, Montana went 4-4, but then the argument is, Brady was good enough to make it to 9 Super Bowls, I think it is. Right?
8. He lost 2. 3. No, 9. He made it.
So the argument is, oh, well, he made it to 9, so he's better. And yet when it's LeBron and Jordan, and I'm not going to say LeBron's better than Jordan, the argument is Jordan went 6 for 6. And then people dump on LeBron for losing multiple finals when Brady, we hold him up for making to the Super Bowl and losing, and yet LeBron, we tear him down.
I mean, that's a good point. I never do that. Looking back at LeBron's final appearances, there's only maybe 1 or 2 that I'm like, there's no way you should have lost that. The Cavs one, he was playing with plumbers. Like, he was playing with terrible people. The first Heat one, he should have won that. When he was with Miami against Dirk. Dirk also had a crazy year.
But if you want to counter that, Brady should have won the 17-0 one.
I mean, if you look at like
19-0 one, I'm gonna just keep going until I get it right.
Well, I mean, Welker had a drop at the end to secure it. Tyree has a catch on his helmet that's like never going to be made again. Like,
right.
Like, things happen. So like, and it's different. Like I think it's harder to win I don't know. It goes back. I guess we can. This is a debate. Is it harder to win a Super Bowl or is it harder to win an NBA championship? Is it harder
good debate.
Harder to win a 7-game series or a 1-game?
Let's table that.
But I think that the one that I look at that like LeBron, you should have won, is that
The
first
Dallas
championship.
The Dallas
because he won the next 2. He lost to a Hall of Fame Spurs team. What are you gonna do? Like that's a good series. I think that that's a good series. That's a good matchup. The Cavs won when he had Kyrie and Kevin Love out. Like, what are you going to do against Golden State?
See, but you're giving him credit for making it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he gets too much criticism for losing those series.
I'm not giving him criticism for that.
Well, no, I'm saying other people do.
Well,
my answer is Big Red. Because everyone's always talking about his tennis skills, and I'm always here to defend him. I'm like, hey, like everyone talks about his tennis skills.
For saying I'm bad?
They just talk about it a lot.
I think they're saying I'm so good at tennis.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that talk about it too.
Yeah, I know there's a ton. The Twitter's blowing up.
And
our DMs are blowing up.
And I think you get too much credit. I said
BSU tennis. Is that why you said that?
Yeah, no, I said that. But every day I have to come out and say his backhand isn't that bad.
My backhand's got a lot better. I have a good backhand slice for any tennis people out there.
I've
improved it.
See, everyone.
I've improved it. Hey, I'm an imperfect project. I'm always here to improve. Self-improvement, self-reflection, self-criticism. I'm always open and constructive.
The second part of that question is the turnaround. Which current athlete doesn't get enough criticism? And my answer is Big Red again.
Oh my God.
The thing is, nobody talks enough about his backhand. And I think people need to be more harsh on you. You're always playing the back end. You're never playing, I don't know, tennis.
I don't think I'm playing too much tennis right now. I'm retired.
That's what they say. You don't get enough criticism. Nobody's like, get back on the court enough.
Baby, is this like the call to action? I need to get back on the court, get back on the horse.
This is it.
This is it.
This is when you send your Jordan fax that says you're back.
I'm back. It's going to come out on, check the Instagram this week. Maybe you get a fax. I'm back. Thanks, John. As I said, I'm an imperfect creation. I need some self-criticism. So it's constructive criticism from people. So feel free to dump on. Man, doesn't get enough. I feel like in this age, everyone craps over everyone for just like taking the wrong step.
Right. Right.
A lot of people get a lot of criticism. Oh, man.
OJ.
Oh, man.
There it is. Who's your guy, Danny Football? Maybe I'll think of something by the time.
Man. I was going to say Clayton Kershaw, but he got the monkey off his back this year. I was kind of thinking I know they bring it up during the playoffs, but they kind of hold that guy up on a pedestal despite him constantly underperforming, but he proved everyone wrong. Doesn't get enough criticism.
like I said, like a lot of people like in sports get a ton of criticism.
Who gets a free pass, I guess? Who constantly gets a free pass? Like, no matter what this guy does, like, there's always something. Like, you almost like begging, like, please just.
Yeah. I don't know. Not, like,
I'm going to go. How about this? Not so much for Big Red, but for John. Randy Orton.
There it is, the wrestling reference.
Doesn't get enough criticism.
Talk to me. Why not?
Because 3 failed policy strikes, should have been let go, stayed in the company because he's a 3rd-generation wrestler. Dude. And everyone praises him now that he's calling himself a legend. They're saying, oh, look at his longevity. I think we got to start looking at Randy Orton in a different light.
I agree. I still think he's great.
John's gonna get all serious now. The whole time we start talking about. Well, I think that I would have to agree here. I think he did not hit his moves 3 times. And
I was watching. Did you watch the thing, The Undertaker and Randy Orton, like not documentary, but whatever piece they made about it?
Now he's referencing documentaries. I didn't.
Give me a spin-off show. Give me a spin-off show.
Me and John need a spin-off podcast where we just talk about wrestling.
I can't say I disagree. He definitely is kind of like the company's like, but they kind of grew him into being just a WWE wrestler. Like he wouldn't survive in any other company.
No.
Speaking of that, did you watch AEW on Wednesday?
I did not.
Cody Rhodes got his last name
yes,
back,
I did see that.
First time.
I did see that.
So sick. Steve, shut up.
Big day for Cody.
hey, when you guys are done having a nerdathon about I'll answer. I'd like to answer the man's question. I thought of mine. I'm gonna go.
Yours a good answer.
Thank you. Go ahead, host of the show.
Bret Hart.
Good one.
All right, you want to just say The Undertaker.
How dare you?
No, I do that when you get John upset. I'm gonna go. Now he had a really good year this year, so I guess this doesn't really bode well. But I'm gonna say Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul. I think he's a Hall of Famer, but I feel like he's never, besides this year. And they couldn't do it. I feel like he's never lifted that team to be a champ. Like he's never lifted that team over the hump. And this year
he's been the guy on multiple teams, and he's never
gotten them over the hump. Like
right.
That Clippers team should have won something. I mean, you could put it on a bunch of people. Doc, you could put it on Blake, you could put it on
DeAndre Jordan, you could put it on injuries. But I just never see he doesn't lift the team over the hump. But we see him as a unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer, which I think is I think we need to think about it. Like, when you think about, I'm not saying that as a player skill-wise, he's not as good. He's not, this player is better, but Rondo's a 2-time champion and had more impacts on his team, had a huge impact, not more impact, huge impacts on those championship teams. He helped them get over the hump. And Chris Paul cannot be said the same. And I don't think it's crazy to think he hasn't had the same talent. Yes, he had LeBron James and AD on his team, and he had Paul Pierce, KG, and Ray Allen, but he had Blake Griffin, who was a number 1 pick and considered one of the best players, power forwards in the game, and DeAndre Jordan was considered one of the best centers of the game. So I think I would go Chris Paul, and I love Chris Paul, but I think I like that pick. That's a good pick.
Yeah. I think he's never got it. It took me a little bit. I thought about when you guys were having your little marathon over there.
I want to talk about wrestling again.
Well, you can later.
John, so help me God, we're gonna get a Survivor Series prediction in the next couple of weeks. I don't know how I'm gonna sneak it by Steve, but I'll do it.
Right here. Steve. Give it your prediction right now. I'm all about.
No, we need to get out of here. We need to get out of here.
What?
We need to get out of here, dude.
We don't know the match card, and we're running way over time.
All right, fine, whatever. I'm trying to give you your spot. I'm trying to.
Oh no, we don't know. We don't know the matches.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me know when the matches are, and I'm pretty good at picking the matches. I don't know anything, but we'll go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Steve
That's
can
not
be
a
our
bad
control.
idea.
Steve can be our control.
I'll
be sick. We should do like it doesn't have to be a big section, but whenever there's a pay-per-view or a big pay-per-view, at least we'd run down our picks. So I did that one time with Steve. Big Red, excuse me. And
I was pretty on the ball.
you got a lot right.
We're just gonna need to get him pictures of everyone.
Yeah, he's gonna have Google pulled up.
No, I didn't look at the pictures. I just looked at the names.
Oh, he's going off of names. Okay.
I just went on names. I didn't go off pictures.
All right. We can do that. All right.
So that future episode, get ready. Be ready for whatever
the Survivor Series special.
The Survivor Series special. I do love Survivor. I'm a big fan.
Might be there. I think Undertaker's like confirmed.
Undertaker?
So
I picked him last time just because I knew who he was.
Yeah,
and then he lost.
Thanks.
Yeah. But he came back. He's come back like 5 times.
That's true.
All right. Well, that was the people's topic. We got to close the people's topic out first. We got off the rails. That was the people's topic. Remember, you can write in on our Instagram. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. You can write in anytime. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button on this video and watch all our other ones. Hit the like button there too. I want to thank producer John, Danny Football, as always, for joining this week. Great episode. Have a great week, everyone.